Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we have a cute little tag video for you and it is the Animal Crossing book tag. If you have been living under a rock, you probably won't know that the Switch version of Animal Crossing New Horizons, came out a couple of weeks ago now, and the whole internet is now obsessed with it. I've always loved Animal Crossing. I loved it when it was Wild World on the DS, and then I got the New Leaf version. Anyway, I've been playing the New Horizons version and I've been loving it. It's so good. It's really been great. So a lovely booktuber here, I'll put the link to their channel down below, created a book tag all about Animal Crossing. So I absolutely had to do this. So let's get onto the questions. The first little prompt is Peppy, a character you would feel peppy about moving into your town. And the first character that sprung to mind to me was Amelie from All the Places I Cried in Public by Holly Bourne. Amelie is so cool. Like, if you don't know the story, Holly Bourne's book follows Amelie, who has moved to a town down south from up north, and she has this really horrible relationship with a boy, and it's all about her kind of uncovering and unpacking that relationship, because we meet her once the relationship has ended. Anyway, even though the book covers some hard-hitting topics, Amelie is so cool. So Amelie is really into music. She's in a band. No, she sings, and then she goes up north to go and play in a venue. She is the type of person I would want to be friends with. She can come and live in my town, and we can jam together with KK Slider. It will be incredible. So yeah, the next little prompt I actually can't pronounce. Uchi. And that is a sibling relationship you enjoy. I feel like this is going to be most people's answer, and that is Kitty and Lara Jean from the All the Boys I Loved Before trilogy. I think it's emphasised more in the book than the movie version. The relationship between Kitty and Lara Jean is so sweet, it's so adorable, it's so loving, it's kind of got that really cute affectionate sibling banter that I really love. So Kitty and Lara Jean. The next prompt is Cranky. A book that made you cranky, or a character that made you cranky. So, Selena from Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. That whole book, she drove me mad. She just got under my skin. She was just so kind of like arrogant. She was so kind of like standoffish. And I know that a lot of the typical female characters who are in the YA, you know, heroine fantasy stories tend to be pretty standoffish, but I don't know, Selena just got under my skin. She just annoyed me. She just drove me mad. Throne of Glass, the whole storyline just got on my nerves. I just didn't like it. I couldn't get on board with it. It was too... I feel like if I'd have read it in 2013, I probably would have enjoyed it. However, when I read it last year, I just couldn't get on board with it. I just didn't like it. So, Throne of Glass. The next prompt is Normal, and it's a book you return to comfort. Mudgy. I've got my Gryffindor jumper on today. It is the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. I love Harry Potter. You can see I'm just a huge Harry Potter fan, and I find the books so comforting. I also really enjoy listening to them on audiobook with Stephen Fry reading them. That is because when I started to read Harry Potter, I was a really slow reader as a kid and couldn't read large books fast. So I took out the audiobooks, the CD versions from the library, and Stephen Fry read them. So I used to spend hours sat in bed with the book in front of me listening to Stephen Fry read it. And that just gives me like so many happy memories, because it's just like how I spent my time as a child. I was engrossed in these books. I loved these books, and I have been rereading them as an adult, and I've been loving them. I've been really enjoying them, and I just love Harry Potter. Like, returning to Hogwarts is always like returning to my home. I just love it so much. Crazy. A book that took really long to finish. So I've got two answers for this. So the first book is I started them both around the same time. So the first book is Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I know this book is a long book, however this book took me 3 months to finish. That was me flitting between reading it physically and flitting between the audiobook. 3 months to finish. However, a book that I started before then, that I haven't yet finished, is Burton on Burton, which is a biography of Tim Burton's life. I started this back at the beginning of December. I have been reading bits of it, but I'm still not finished with it. It's quite dry. It's a decent non-fiction book, but it's really, really hard for me to get into. And I don't want to read it for hours and hours like I do some of my fiction books, or some of the really good non-fiction books that I've read. So I'm getting there. Progress is slow, but it's taking me way too long to finish. Smug is the next prompt, and that is a hyped book you have no interest in reading. So I'm going to pick a hyped series. Now this series was hyped, I'd say about 3 or 4 years ago, so maybe not so much nowadays, but it is the Selection series by Kira Cass. It's something to do with princesses. I have no interest in reading them. I just don't. I feel like I have jumped off that hype train. I just don't want to read it. Have no interest in it. There are so many amazing books out there that are on my TBR that I want to read, that I'm yet to discover, and those books are not on that list. Your book MVP, which I didn't really know what this meant, and it is something that completes your reading experience. So I don't know, I am very frequently a read in silence on my bed sort of gal. I like to get cozy in bed and read my book. However, recently, in the pandemic that we've been having, I have been really enjoying reading on Skype with my friends. So what we'll do is we'll do like little reading sprints. So we'll talk for half an hour and I'll set a timer, and when the timer goes off, we sprint read for half an hour. And then we kind of do it again and do it again. And it's such a nice, really like unique way to read, and I've really been enjoying it. And I found that I have got a lot of reading done in like those times because I'm breaking up my reading. I've been really enjoying it. And yeah, recently it's been really completing my reading experience. It's been so great. So shout out to my bookish squad, people who you've probably seen in vlogs. A couple of bonus questions. So number 1 is Tom Nook, an auto by author. And that will always for me be Juno Dawson. I love Juno's writing. She's amazing. I loved her. What first got me into her was her non-fiction book, The Gender Games. And then I read some of her fiction works. She's just incredible. She writes the best hard-hitting contemporary stories. So good. I will always support Juno. She's an amazing person and I love her books. Isabelle, your most ambitious 2020 reading goal. I haven't set myself like any linear, like a list of targets. I just set like a numerical target for my reading, and that is kind of it. So I guess my ambitious target is to read 50 books this year, which I thought was a bit ambitious like a couple of weeks ago, but I've since had like a really good reading spur, and that is incredible. So I'm now like ahead of my reading target of 50 books. Last year I read 60 books, so I don't think 50 is that ambitious, but we'll see. I would love to read more, but you know what? I'm not going to force myself to read if I don't want to. Reading is an enjoyable experience. One is The Able Sisters, and that is a recent book cover that you love. So that is The Binding by Bridget Collins. I had to look at it to remember the name. I really love this cover. I especially loved, my friend Lizzie picked up the Waterstones version, which was like the purple cover that you'll see here, and it got gorgeous purple sprayed edges, and it just looked so good. Oh, I loved it so much. But yeah, The Binding, that is my most recent cover that I've thought, beautiful. Okay, Slider, what do you listen to when you read? Like I have just said, I tend to be like an in silence reader. However, if I'm going to read with background music, I will do 2 things. I have like a reading playlist on Spotify that I sometimes listen to, but quite rarely. I also really love listening to white noise. I just YouTube or put on Spotify white noise and white noise. Or I will put on an ASMR room. Now I know many of you will probably have heard of ASMR rooms. They are literally like videos that you can put on your laptop that have the most beautiful sounds in them, and they're so calming. There are Hogwarts themed ones, there are Lord of the Rings themed ones, and they're just so good and they're just so relaxing. I really enjoy them. And then the final question is, Brewster, what do you drink when you read? Water? Tea? I tend to just drink whatever I'm drinking at the time. I don't drink a particular drink to get me in the mood for reading. I just drink whatever. I'm the same with food. I don't tend to read while I'm eating. I tend to eat then read. I don't like to get, especially if you eat like a sandwich, I don't want to get things in the pages. I don't want to reread a book years later and find mouldy crumbs in my book. I'm not about that. But yeah, I just drink whatever I'm drinking. Mostly water. I drink a lot of water. That was the Animal Crossing book tag. Let me know in the comments down below if you've been playing Animal Crossing. Let me know who you've got in your town. Who's your favourite character? I have Bones in my town at the minute and I love Bones so much. He's my favourite villager. I kind of really want like either Stitches or Tangy, but I haven't got them yet, and I need to find out a way to get more villagers in my town. I know I need to make my town more appealing. I'm not really good at the Animal Crossing stuff at the minute. Anyway, let me in the comments down below what your town is called. Who have you got in your town? You know, hit me up on Twitter if you want to visit my Animal Crossing town, maybe. I don't know, it'd be really cute. I'd love to see some of you on Animal Crossing. But yeah, have a good day and I will see you again soon. Goodbye.